It is 2 o'clock and there's a blizzard on Wall Street today, slowing things down both outside and on the trading floors. It is also 2 o'clock in our nation's capital, where you really can't see anything. Things have literally ground to a halt. The economic ripples of a socked-in eastern seaboard today. But it is 1 o'clock p.m. here in Texas, at the Alamo to be precise. It's not warm here, but we are on assignment in Texas. And you may say, why Texas? Well, it's home to more Fortune 500 companies than any other state in the union, 64. It's also the largest exporter in the nation for 8 years running. You get the picture. We're deep in the heart of Texas, and Texas is at the heart of our nation's economy. And up next on our special show live from Texas, being on the border, naturally, a state has to defend the entire country from physical attacks. But now the government has turned its sights to San Antonio to help in the multi-billion-dollar effort to guard America against cyber attacks. It's an industry that did not even exist 5 years ago, but everybody needs it, and experts say it is a tremendous source of business for the nation and the city of San Antonio, Texas. NBC's Janet Shamlian filed this report for us.
Say the words cybersecurity, and you probably think Washington. But the work of protecting information on the internet has actually taken root deep in the heart of Texas.
The IT space is worth about $8 billion in economic impact to the city of San Antonio.
Companies desperate to protect their customers' information. Individuals eager to avoid identity theft. Even the government needing to protect its networks. Protect us all. The Air Force has chosen San Antonio as the headquarters for its cyber command, already employing more than 700 at Lackland Air Force Base. But private companies like the Denham Group are calling this town home as well, in what's become the Alamo City's hottest industry, one that didn't even exist a decade ago.
I wake up and there's a story just about every day. The Google, China hacking stories are out there. So I think we're going to always have jobs, and we're always going to be growing at a crazy pace.
And that means recruiting top talent from schools like the University of Texas, San Antonio.
Project closed.
Which has a dedicated cybersecurity program.
As our dependence on the cyber infrastructure grows, it attracts criminals, it attracts enemies of the nation, intelligence agencies, organized foreign governments, terrorists. So I have no doubt that the need for cybersecurity is only going to grow.
That's what Rackspace Hosting is banking on, one of the nation's largest internet hosting firms. It's headquartered here and was just named a top company to work for in Texas.
We've gone from 5 folks in a startup to 3,000 employees. We call Rackers, serving 80,000 customers in a publicly traded company.
It all makes for a robust technology sector in an industry expected to double in size over the next 5 years. For CNBC, I'm Janet Shamlian.
So doubling in size over the next 5 years, obviously a big opportunity. Let's bring in 2 men who are involved in the Cyber City effort. Joining us is Dr. Greg White, Director of the Center for Infrastructure Assurance and Security at the University of Texas, San Antonio, and Fred Ramirez, CNF Technologies President and Founder. Good to have both of you with us. Obviously, we've been hearing more and more about cybersecurity lately, just with the Google situation, that they had been hacked supposedly by the Chinese government. Why, though, is San Antonio, Professor White, the center or one of the centers here in the United States for this growing industry? Is it just because there's military bases here?
It's actually a very interesting story. It really started, and it's because of 2 reasons. In 1985, the Air Force moved its computer security office here to San Antonio. At that same time, if you think about what was going on in the mid-'80s, that was the rise of the personal computers, and the first thing everybody wants to do when they get a personal computer is connect it to someone else. So you had the rise of what became known as the Internet. And so those 2 things happening at the same time, and the Air Force launching this security office down here in San Antonio, brought a lot of people to San Antonio, government contractors to support the Air Force. You had a lot of people in the Air Force who then got out and retired and would form their own companies. And so we had this hotbed of security expertise that formed down here.
And obviously one of the entrepreneurs, you're one of them, Fred. I mean,
well, this is the second company that I helped get started. The first incident that ever occurred on military systems occurred in 1987 when you had some German hackers coming in and actually penetrated a government agency and attacked systems at several bases. That actually started the momentum to build the capability here in town at Lackland Air Force Base.
So what's the scariest thing? And I know we talk about this, but what is a scary scenario that everyone could understand in America? This would happen as a cyber attack, and the implication would be, I mean, no one could go to work, your car would, what happens?
Worst case scenario is you do have a problem that occurs that impacts everything that's connected to the net, and today that's everything. So you wouldn't be able to do your normal things. You wouldn't be able to turn on your power. You wouldn't be able to get water. All your infrastructure is connected across the net, so that'd be
it could be as devastating as some sort of a physical attack. What kind of training? I mean, you have a program at University of Texas now here in San Antonio just to train people for this. What kinds of skills? I mean, do you have to be an incredibly brainiac software engineer to be involved in this?
There's two types of individuals. You have really kind of the social side. You have the individuals who, because a lot of what we can do in security has nothing to do with the technology. It's impacting the individuals, convincing the average American, for example, that they need to do something. They need to do something, be aware of some very simple measures that they can take. And then there's also the technical side, the individuals who are trying to build a more secure network, a more secure computer.
Like out of the episode of 24 or something like that. What's the employment opportunity? We talk about America trying to get more and more jobs. San Antonio is investing a lot in this industry. Is this a job-intensive industry?
There have been a number of individuals who've projected the number, how many people do we need, how many cybersecurity experts do we need in the next few years, and they're in the tens of thousands is what normally is the figures that are thrown out there. And unfortunately, we're not producing those. The country's just not simply
So we're now importing them, the people to fight our own cybersecurity battles?
No, we don't have them. And
we don't
we're
have
not
them at
importing
all.
them. We just don't have them. So there's a number of programs. For example, the ones here in San Antonio and elsewhere in the country, people are starting up programs at the collegiate level, even at the high school level.
Can you find the people you need?
There's a lot of partnerships that have been established between industry and academia to help us fill those positions. Just with the 24th Numbered Air Force moving to San Antonio, that added 1,500 positions. NSA coming in, that's another 1,000 positions. So it's going to be hard to fill that, to meet that challenge, but I think we've got the things in place to help us do that. And we really see an explosion occurring here in the next 12 to 24 months.
All right, well, thank you very much, Fred Gregg. We appreciate your taking the time. And while San Antonio did lose jobs last year, like other places in Texas, it lost a lot fewer than the rest of the country. And in the fourth quarter, apparently, the state of Texas added 50,000 jobs. Fortune lists Austin as number 8 among large metropolitan areas to launch a small business. It's the best. Can small businesses rebuild America's economy? It is the question, and here now is one from Austin, Texas, that's moving on to the national stage, HomeAway.com. Joining us now is Brian Sharples, HomeAway founder and CEO. Austin, of course, just up the road from here. And HomeAway now a name a whole lot more people know than knew just a few days ago because of your Super Bowl ad with the Griswolds. Let me just ask you, who thought of that?
Of the Griswold idea?
Yes.
I'd love to take credit, but it was our agency publicist that came up with that very brilliant idea.
Well, a lot of people have had a lot of nice things to say about it, and it has put you on the national map. HomeAway.com, this is an online listing service for vacation homes. You say you don't really have any competitors, but how does it work?
Well, we operate both in the U.S. and Europe right now. It's a pretty simple business model. If you own a home, let's say you had a home in the Hamptons and you wanted to rent that out, you'd pay us about $300 a year. That gets you a listing on our sites for a full year. We've got millions of travelers who come and rent the home. You keep all the money. There's no commission arrangement. The company has grown at about a 95% annual growth rate for the last 4 years, 50% on an organic basis. Last year, we finished just over 40%, and it's continuing that strong this year. So the business has been good. The Super Bowl by no means was a huge bet for us. We can afford it. It's about maybe 5% of our overall marketing budget was spent on the game itself. But the results have been phenomenal. We've been very happy with it.
All right, well, Brian, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Certainly got a lot of people talking and an interesting content.